All right, here we are again. You may recognize this as actually belonging, let me bring you over here, oh, right about there. And you would be right. That is where that belongs. That belongs in that pocket, the welder pocket. But the reason it's not there, and the reason it is here on the forklift, is because we have a little problem here. Let's see. This is the exhaust. This is the exhaust pipe. You can see it is not one, it is two. Let's see, can I get, here you go, see? It has chosen to separate. Which also, I don't know if you can see, there's been a lot of melting here of these. It's very hard to, well, maybe not, down in here, these wires here. As a result of that, naturally all the exhaust is coming out of here and blowing on here and melting. I did make an attempt when I discovered it. I was of course on the road, so I made an attempt to take a piece of Sandtex from a welding blanket and kind of make an attempt to kind of wrap around to avoid that, because of course I was on a job, and when I noticed smoke coming out of the side, and I said, gee, what is that? You know, why are we having smoke coming out the sides of the machine and around the seams and stuff? And I lifted the hood, and that's what I noticed. And of course, like I said, I was quite a ways away from home, and I had to get a job done, and of course it wasn't easy going. I was naturally doing a lot of heavy air arcing and this and that, so what could I do, right? Anyway, so that's why the machine is off the truck now, because that pipe is bad. And that pipe comes out of the manifold here, goes all the way underneath the radiator, comes up here, and then in behind it catches the muffler. I guess you can see that right down in there through the muffler, and then up and out there. So the machine had to come off the truck because all this sheet metal is going to have to go and whatnot to get that changed. So I got the pipe. I ordered the pipe and I've got it, so that's why I figured I would take the machine off of the truck. So I'll kind of bring you along on this fun little project. Geez, I'm just having all kinds of equipment problems here. Compressor in the shop woes, the compressor on the truck, the receiver's leaking now. So, and then of course this happened the other day. So, fun, as I always like to say. Okay, well, that's about that. So I guess I won't know until I take it all apart. I'll keep you posted. Well, look at this. This might wind up being just all kinds of fun. Obviously you can see this is how, you know, that's supposed to be together. And obviously they put this insulation, this Sandtex or whatever you want to call it, on here to protect from heat all of this stuff, which has now been exposed, all these wires and stuff, which have now been exposed to a whole lot of heat, and the exhaust blowing on it. The exhaust blowing on the alternator here, so I don't know if that's good. The battery light, of course, has been on. I noticed that immediately. So yeah, this might turn into just all kinds of fun here. Oh boy, well, I guess I got to get it apart to know what's going on. Well, I'll bring you back. Okay, well, we've got it apart. The flange here, I was able to get that apart without too much fuss. And then down here, where it goes into the, that's actually into the muffler. The pipe goes directly into, comes across, and then it goes into the muffler here. So that is where that picks up. That was a little more stubborn. In fact, here's the here's the remains. You can see that was pretty much on its way out with very little, I was holding it with pliers, just trying to, a little penetrating oil, just trying to get that out, and that collapsed. So there it is, the remnants of it. So obviously, it was time, and there's the insulation that's supposed to be wrapped around it. Let's see, where is the new one here? Show you what the new one looks like. That's the one. That's the new one, right from Miller, and had, of course, a very nice cost of I think it was $260 with the gasket. So who knows? And I think I'm probably going to have to go. Though I was able to get it off, it looks like it's all eroded. So I guess I'm going to have to go to the auto parts store and see if I can match that up. Probably should have. I guess I could have ordered that from Miller too. I don't know. So that's going to have to be changed. I'm happy I was able to get these nuts off of here without very much trouble at all. Looks like these are Allen bolts that come through. I'm assuming the manifold itself, is threaded because it came off, and these aren't moving. And I just tried to gently move them, but it didn't move. So I'm not gonna mess around with it if I don't have to. Now, as for the wiring, oh boy, I don't know. This spaghetti around it is all melted, but I don't actually see that the wires themselves have melted through. I'm going to cut this all apart here. Apparently these wires, most of them anyway, are going to the starter. Now the machine still starts and runs, so I have to assume that nothing's shorted. Like I said, I'm thinking it's mostly just this spaghetti tubing that may have melted, because here's some of the wiring here, and it's not melted through. So I don't know, maybe I got lucky. Now the alternator, I think, might be another matter, because the light was on. I don't know if it's normally on. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna have to, I guess, depending on what's going to go on with the wires. Of course, I'll pull them all apart, I'll check them, and I'll try to get some more of that spaghetti or something at the auto parts store, and assuming they're okay. If not, I'll have to take them apart, cut them, splice them, whatever. But if they're okay, if it didn't breach through the insulation, I'm just going to try to clean them up and put new spaghetti tubing on there. In fact, I guess I'll ask if perhaps there's some heat-resistant tubing available. The alternator, like I say, I'm not sure. I won't be sure until I put it all back together and start it up, because I'm not sure if, naturally, if it's bad, it will have to be changed. Now, another thing I noticed here is that these bolts hold the mounts down for the engine, and there's like a rubber, just like, I guess, similar to, just a soft, flexible mount. But I've noticed there's quite a bit of movement, and this is loose not only on this side, but on, let's see if you can see if it's not too dark, and here, this one too. It's all, the bolt that comes through is loose. And like I say, to me, there seems to be quite a bit of movement, in that motor. So I don't know how much is too much or whatever, but I'm thinking now that maybe what I should do, why would these bolts be loose if something's not collapsed? I'm going to try to tighten them, but I think that the rubber in here, in between the the angle mount and the chassis mount, I'm guessing has probably worn away, and maybe that's contributing to the problem. Maybe all that, if that's too loose, maybe that shaking helped to vibrate the pipe and cause some of this. So yeah, see, that seems to be, I don't know. I'm thinking I'm going to check into that and find out about getting new mounts. I'm assuming that's going to be a specialty item that's going to have to come again through Miller. So I guess I'll call tomorrow and check about that. So keep you posted as I go. All right, well, in the interim, here's our mount, our engine mounts. This is the one, let me take you over here. This is the one from this side of the engine. I removed it and I put this chunk of steel in here just to, just to hold the thing, excuse me, from falling down. But this is actually our mounts. Now I called my my local welding supply where I got the the Miller pipe and everything. Now they say these are available, these mounts. However, I don't know what they said, if it's not the number is good or something, but some sort of a problem. Well, here's the long and short of it is this: they're talking about 2 weeks out to get these two mounts. And then there's one similar to this. These are the engine, obviously. There's one similar to it. I've checked it. You can't really see so great. It's very similar down in here for the generator end. That one seems to be okay, because even if it's not, it ain't getting changed, because it would require removing everything, disassembling the entire machine and lifting the head off, the whole engine and generator assembly, and I ain't doing that. So, but these, like I say, I think the problem is, again, that the thing just runs out of thread here. Now this one at least doesn't seem that bad. So, I mean, there's movement in it, but I don't see anything cracked or spalled or torn in here. So, you know what my answer to this is going to be? I know you're going to think a shorter bolt. Well, no, I'm going to use the correct bolt. Here, this is going to be my answer. A nice piece of Delrin that happens to be the same diameter as the top of this. And I'm going to, essentially I'm just going to put it in the lathe, face it, and part it off. And I guess I'll make them, I don't know, even if I make them, anything more than a quarter or more. Could probably do it with another thick washer, actually. Obviously, this is what they have. They have these fender type washers here. But I think I'm going to use just a piece of Delrin drilled 3/8 to act as a washer in between here and the actual angle mount on the motor. So that's going to be the next step. I'm going to go ahead and make 2 of those mounts out of Delrin. And we'll see how that goes. I mean, who knows? Maybe if I take the other side apart and it's wasted, then I'll have no choice. But I would really rather not be without my engine drive, for 2 weeks while I wait for these mounts to come in. And I'm not sure they're going to be any better than what I've got. Like I say, I don't think anything's all that wrong. So so that's what I'm going to do for now. I think it's maybe just natural, shrinkage of the rubber over time. Who knows? I guess maybe nowadays, if they were making these, they'd make them out of urethane or whatever. But I think for now, that's going to be my answer. And then if there's no improvement, I'll put it all back together, hopefully, and then, get it back on the truck where I can use it if I need it. And then if this doesn't work or whatever, I can always order the other ones and, and deal with it at that point. So that's where we're at on that. All right, so here's going to be my my solution for the moment anyway. Made these out of Delrin, just Delrin spacer washers, and like I said, I'm just trying to compensate what I believe is for the shrinking of the rubber. So the plan will be then I'll just put the mount back on, and then this will compensate for whatever the amount of shrinkage there is, or whatever. For, like I say, for some reason these bolts are loose in there. I don't know why. So I'm assuming it's just a natural shrinkage because this is rubber. So these are, I made these just a little over 1/4 of an inch. 270 was what I made them, thickness. So I'm just going to do that for now, and pop that in there. Like I say, the one in the back that holds the generator end seems to be okay. So I'm not going to do anything with it now. If something, if the need arises, I'll get into that. But yeah, that's going to be my solution for that. So I'm going to try and go ahead and reinstall these. Alright, so let's see, can we zoom in on that? Yeah, there we go. You can see I was able to unbolt the mounts, rebolt them, and I put this little Delrin spacer in here. Did put new bolts with new nylock style nuts on them. Did that on both sides. Can't really see on the other side. It's kind of tight, but same thing over here. Like I said, it's a little bit too close to see the washer. And also now I've undone all the loom, or whatever you'd call it there, the spaghetti off the wires. And it looks as though it's just that the spaghetti melted around the wire. The wires don't look to be, you know, burned through the insulation. So now I'm going to, still got another little jam here, because I'm going to have to look for some sort of heat wrap looming or something like that. Because I'm afraid now, so I'm a little nervous. So now I don't, you know, now that I know it is close to this manifold here, I know it gets tied off to the dipstick holder here. But even so, I don't want to just put regular spaghetti, you know, plastic loom on there. I'm going to put something that's a little more heat resistant on the whole deal here. So I'll have to do that first. Then I guess I can go about putting the new pipe back on, and you know, connecting it back to the muffler. And then again, of course, I still don't know about the alternator. And also, I've noticed, you can see on the ground there, that's where the that's a little dripping, because now it's been here overnight. And I did notice on the platform on the truck there was some oil stains. So that is, I've noticed where this this hose for the remote drain, you can see how this comes out the side and squeezes between the platform and the body of the truck, so that I can change the oil without having to pull the machine off the truck. So I noticed where that connects underneath to the oil pan, that's obviously dripping. So I don't want to make that big a mess. I'm going to want to correct that as well. So so that gives me a little something else to do. You know, the old Pandora's box, I guess, sort of thing. When you touch it, you know, it's gonna start you know, you're gonna find things you never knew about. So that's where I'm at, but might as well deal with it. Yeah, as far as the whole mounting thing, I certainly feel a little bit better about that. It seems like, you know, that was no good with having those bolts loose, and so that certainly seems to be better. So again, I'll keep you posted as I go. Alright, this is a little update on my engine drive here that I have in the shop that I'm working on. This is where this pipe had broken, you know, I guess from rotting or whatever it rotted, and I noticed smoke was coming out the side panels and up through the seams. So this is now the new pipe from Miller. I just got it loosely, I don't have it bolted in yet. I have it loosely set in here and connected down to the muffler. If you remember, I was saying how, well, obviously it burned all the insulation and stuff off the wires. Thank goodness it did not. It didn't actually, you know, short the wires out. Everything seems to be okay. I just peeled and picked, you know, my way through, getting all this old spaghetti off and this and that. I did suspect that the alternator was fried, because think about it, if this, you know, assuming that, you know, this thing was broken right here, all that exhaust was shooting directly into the back of the alternator. So what I did, obviously you can see this is a new alternator now. What I did was I just, to try it, when I took the pipe, once I got the wires, you know, what I believe to be squared away, I took the pipe and I just put it on here upside down so that the exhaust would go out this way. And I put the battery back in and I started it up with the old alternator in there. And I went over to the battery to check the voltage, and sure enough, it was 18.2 volts putting out. So obviously I figured something had fried. So I was very hopeful that it was just the alternator and not something further down the line in the wiring or whatever. So I went exchanged the alternator, and thank goodness I put this in, tried it again, and now we're right around 13.9, 14 volts at the battery while it's running. So thank goodness that's done. So like I said, I guess now, so after that I just wanted to test fit the pipe up and make sure. That's why I haven't had any bolts. I didn't put the clamp back on here yet, but it looks like it's going to be all right. So I will take this, I'll take this back off now, and I'm going to put a little never sees, some high temp never sees on these bolts. These are actually Allen head bolts that go through here. I guess they're threaded into the manifold, and then it just gets one of these like conical style washers and the nut. I did not attempt, well, I just put an Allen wrench on the back of this because I figured I'd take the whole thing apart and get it all cleaned up and high temp never sees before I put it back together. Well, I put an Allen wrench and it doesn't want to move. So guess what? I got these off. It's it's cool. I think that's, considering the luck I've been having here with this, that's a battle I don't want to fight, I think. So I'm just going to leave them. Like I say, I'll put some nice never sees on here and put everything back together, put the gasket on, put the nuts and the conical washers back on, and that's going to be enough. That can be a battle for another time, perhaps, if and when I need to actually address it. Hopefully never. But that's going to be that for now. So I guess what I'm going to do is, now that I know it seems to be okay, I'm going to again take this all apart. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to also put another piece, because again, once bitten, twice shy, I guess. I'm going to put another piece of Santex up in this area, and I'm going to wrap it on there, maybe with some some stainless steel wire or something like that, just to have a little extra protection from that heat in this area. So assuming I'm successful with that, that should pretty much be it. But like I was saying, I found the bad mounts and this and that, and then oh, and then of course, I don't know if you can see, as we go underneath, you can see that cardboard there with the oil dripping. I wondered why there was a little bit of oil on the mount, on the the welder pocket floor where this thing lives on the truck, and there was a lot of some oil on there. So I said, oh man. Naturally underneath, I looked at that, and of course the remote oil drain hose, it looks like the crimped on ferrules are bad. So naturally that's all coming from Miller, and I think that's going to be another $200 and some odd by the time we're done with that. Hopefully it'll be in next week. I don't know, but if I get this all back together, at least it can go. That can be tolerated, the amount of little oil if something should happen. So that's hopefully that'll be, we'll be wrapping up soon here. So let me get this all back together, and we'll see how it, I'll bring you back in once I'm done with that, and I'm sure the sound will suck, but I'll try to do a little test run and see how it goes. Well, I'm hoping you can hear me here. There we go. We're running. And believe you me, it's a whole lot quieter than it was. You can see I try to zoom in rather than get closer to it. You can see where I wrapped around the pipe there with some Santex, and I just used some stainless steel MIG wire, that I twisted around there, just to hold that Santex on there as an additional help. And again, I just wanted it up, near the top in that danger zone there where the wiring and all that stuff is. Down at the bottom, I'm sure it's fine. So, without it, I got, more than half the way along there. So, but the good news is it's running. It's charging right around 14 volts. And it's, as I say, it's a whole lot quieter. and there's no smoke blowing out all over the place roasting the thing. So that's a whole lot better. Let me shut this thing off here. Oh, in fact, let me bring you around the front here. If you see up here, these three lights, I guess I should have noticed something was wrong because this battery light was on. And, let me shut it down now. So I should have realized that something was wrong, actually. And I didn't really realize. So it was overcharging. I guess whatever, when the smoke blew into the alternator, that exhaust was running in there. I guess it must have fried something that controls the regulation, I guess, or whatever. And yeah, it was charging. It was charging up around 18.2 volts or something like that. So, like I say, I guess essentially we're done. I'm gonna wait, naturally, well, we'll see. If I have to go, I can go. If something comes in, I'm waiting for that, let me walk you around to the other side, that oil drain. You can see here, this is the remote oil drain hose, which is a really huge help when it's on the truck to be able to change the oil. So I'm waiting for that to come in with a couple of the other components, which, believe it or not, that's going to be about another 200 bucks worth of stuff. 260 bucks for a pipe and a gasket. What the alternator was, what, $170, I think, or something like that. So, you know, it got costly, you know, some wire loom, you know, all the time to mess, well, whatever. Anyway, so that's about it. So I guess we're going to be good, and I guess that wraps it up. On a side note, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that this thing keeps going. This is by far and away the best road machine I've ever had. It is very nice. The diesel is nice. It's smoother. You know, I've had a lot of gas ones. I mean, you know, from SAs to hand crank, you know, hand crank Wisconsin powered, you know, Lincolns and Millers, and you know, you use the throttle as the fine adjuster. Just, you know, I've had them all. Believe me. Well, all as far as gas is. This is the first time I actually got myself into a diesel. But the thing is, I was checking, and well, they say they don't actually make this machine anymore. This is a Trailblazer Pro 350D diesel, naturally. But even to come close to this, to take a step back and to go into a 302 amp Trailblazer, I'd be up around, I think they said $10,000 or something like that with the diesel option. So, man, like I say, fingers crossed that I can keep this thing, you know, going, because you know, it would be a huge chunk of change to find something, anything like this, you know. And like I said, I got to admit, this though it's, you know, it blows a little smoke naturally. It's tired. I mean, it's got, you know, 30, I think about 3,000, I'm sorry, about 3,000 hours on it. And of course, you know, it came from a rental Sunbelt, you know, and so naturally it certainly was, you know, it was used, to say the least. And but it's a good machine. It really is. It's been a very good machine. And I mean, it sticks nicely, it tigs nicely, it, you know, it gouges good, you know, it's good. It makes plenty of auxiliary power. So you know, I'm just hoping I can keep it moving along. All right, I think that's going to wrap it up. So we're done with this, and I guess the next step will be, I'll put the oil thing on there. Hopefully that'll come in, I think they're saying Tuesday. Throw it back on the truck, and then, as some famous guy once said, it's everybody polka. Thanks for watching. See you next time, folks.